So I think it's fair to say without Marcus Rashford in this game, United would be going back to Old Trafford trying to recover from a losing position. And this isn't to take anything away from United as a whole, as I thought they performed absolutely fantastically, both in and out of possession. And I will be doing a full match analysis where I break down everything tactically, but it is going to take me a bit longer to put together, so it should be out a bit later, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when that comes out. But in this video, I'm going to be specifically analysing how Marcus Rashford changed this game, whilst also comparing him to one Kylian Mbappe. So let's analyse Manchester United's equaliser in this game, which was scored by Marcus Rashford. So this all stems from United pressing Barcelona high. We can't see exactly how the press was coordinated by United, because for some reason whoever's in charge of TV production decided to show a meaningless replay of Marcos Alonso jogging back after scoring, rather than the actual fucking game. But we can kind of make out that United were man-to-man pressing Barcelona, force them over to the left side where Fernandes engages Alba, and because all of these short passing options are being closed off, with Rashford coming across to close down Marcos Alonso, Weghorst pushing up onto Kessie, and Fred pushing up onto Frankie de Jong, with Wan-Bissaka also pushing up tight onto Gavi, stopping that ball down the line. And so Alba's only option is to play a long ball upfield looking for Lewandowski, but Varane's there to intercept it, calmly chesting the ball into Casemiro, and this is where United come alive. We can see here that as Casemiro is about to play the pass forward, that because United are instantly looking to attack directly after winning the ball back, Barcelona are still essentially set up in their possession shape. And so we can see there are massive spaces between the back line. Marcos Alonso and Koundé are very stretched, with the two Barcelona fullbacks Alba and Arejo still in their wide positions as they look to stretch the pitch when they had possession. And what this means is that both Rashford and Sancho can position themselves between the Barcelona fullbacks and centre-backs, and so the space to play a through ball into either of these two players to get in behind the Barcelona back line and into the box is definitely available. However, in order to take advantage of these spaces, you have to move the ball forward quickly, and this is a key principle of any counter-pressing system. So you can have the most well-coordinated and organised aggressive press and win the ball back high up the pitch, but if you don't have players in the centre of the park who have the vision to see and then have the ability to play a quick forward pass into players higher up the pitch, then you're not going to be able to exploit the spaces between the opposition's transition from their possession system to their defensive system. For example, if Casemiro receives a ball from Varane and rather than looking for that direct forward pass into Fred, he instead holds on to the ball, allowing Lewandowski to get back goal side, or looks to play a simpler, less risky pass to simply retain possession, such as maybe back to Shaw, or even into Jadon Sancho in the half space if he was to drop in front of Koundé, then this is going to afford the Barcelona players more time to get back into their defensive shape, with Koundé and Alonso in the centre of that back line getting closer, and Alba and Arejo shifting back into position, narrowing the back line. Then the space that Rashford is eventually able to exploit between Alonso and Alba gets closed off, and this opportunity doesn't get created. But Casemiro somehow has a vision to see Fred lurking in behind Frankie de Jong, and I think de Jong actually anticipates a pass going into Jadon Sancho because he moves over to the right side, which essentially just opens up the passing lane into Fred, and Fred does well to control the ball. And from this position you can see the advantage that a pressing side has when they utilise players in a pressing system in narrow centrally advanced positions. As you can see here, both Sancho and Rashford are positioned in the perfect positions between the Barcelona fullbacks and centre-backs, providing those runs in behind the Barcelona back line. Giving Fred two excellent through ball options. He can go for Sancho on the left side, but I definitely think he picks a best option on the right side with Rashford being positioned between Alonso and Alba. And because Rashford was actually in a central position during United's press, he's already on the inside of Alba, and Alba can't get across quick enough to recover. And to be fair, Alonso on Rashford's inside isn't actually in a bad position. He's in quite a good position to read the ball, being central enough to stop Fred bursting through the centre between him and Koundé. And to be honest, if it was any other player apart from Rashford on his outside, he'd actually also be in a very good position to deal with the runner in behind. But if I gave Casemiro credit for his incisive pass, splitting the Barcelona midfield line, getting the ball into Fred in behind de Jong and Kessie, then Fred also deserves massive praise for his Bruno Fernandes-esque pass, releasing Rashford in behind the back line, as it's weighted absolutely perfectly. In recent games I have been critical of Fred's forward passing, particularly in the final third, as I often feel he doesn't really have the vision or awareness to time his passes right, and as it has done in recent games, all of which you can see the analysis of in the description below, I do think he often is the one that leads to the attack breaking down, but in this position, the timing, angle and weight of the through ball really couldn't be any better, as Rashford doesn't even have to break stride as he races away from Alonso, who really can't do anything against the pace and power of United's informed man if it's probably someone like Weghorst, Jadon Sancho. or even Anthony Martial, and I think Alonso has the pace to get back across and close off the shooting opportunity. But Rashford's able to race onto the ball, and his first touch is absolutely critical. If it isn't heavy enough, then he's going to have to take another touch, which will allow Alonso to come across. And if it's too heavy, it's going to narrow the shooting position even more than it already is. And to be honest, when we look at the position where Rashford takes a shot, I do think ter Stegen will be disappointed with the gap between himself and the near post. But from Rashford's point of view, that is the only area he can really shoot to get the ball into the net. Even if ter Stegen's closer to his post, I think it's the right shot, as he's going to try to get it between ter Stegen's legs, as the angle is far too tight for him to go back across goal into the far corner. But it's not ter Stegen's own positioning, but also the power Rashford puts on the shot that beats the Barcelona goalkeeper. And when you see Marcus Rashford scoring goals like this, then it has to draw comparisons to Kylian Mbappe. Like Mbappe, Rashford has a rare combination of speed, movement and ball control, as well as finishing ability from wide positions inside of the box. And that is why the ideal position for Rashford and Mbappe to be positioned in the final third is between the opposition's fullback and centre-back, wide of the width of the goal, but still central enough to have the angle to shoot across the keeper, whether this is from the left side when they're opening up their body and shooting with their right foot, using a placement technique to put the ball into the far corner, or on the right side where they hit the ball hard and low across the keeper with a more driven shot into the far corner. But the other obvious comparison between Rashford and Mbappe is their ability to use their electric acceleration to burst past players, particularly in wide areas, even in situations where there isn't actually that much space ahead of them. But their decisiveness, speed and ball control is so good that they don't need acres of space on the flanks to burst past players. They can instead do this around the box so that when they do beat the defender, they are then in a position to either release a shot or, as Rashford did for the second goal, create a chance via a dangerous pass or cross. We saw Mbappe do this against Real Madrid in the first leg of their Champions League tie last season, where he received the ball on the left side of the box in the closing minutes of the game and was able to use this burst of acceleration to drive past two players going through the middle of them, and was then able to open up his body and release a shot to beat Courtois and give PSG the victory in the first leg of that tie. And I think this is why we saw Ten Hag deploy Marcus Rashford more as a centre forward in this game, with Weghorst being used more as a number 10 or even a central midfielder, rather than having Weghorst play as a centre forward and dropping deep to link the play, and Marcus Rashford starting from a wider position, playing as an inside forward in the front three. And I will come on to why I think Ten Hag decided to go with this quite radical change in my more in-depth tactical analysis of this game, which should be released later today. But in terms of using Marcus Rashford as a centre forward, it definitely allows him to have more freedom, roaming all across the front line and exploiting gaps in the Barcelona system, rather than just holding his width on the left side. And it definitely wasn't something that Xavi predicted, as it was pretty obvious that he deployed Orejo in that right back position to deal with Marcus Rashford. But Ten Hag was playing 3D tactical chess in this game, and you'd have to say it paid off, as Rashford's goal did come from the right side rather than the left side where he would normally be positioned. But overall, Rashford came in clutch again, and he's really starting to cement his name as potentially one of the best players in world football at the moment. Obviously, he needs to continue this form for the rest of the season and into next season, and be able to sustain this type of output season on season to really be able to get anywhere near Mbappe's current level. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell, because I will be releasing my more in-depth analysis, which should be out later today, and if it is out, I will leave it linked in the description with some other videos I think you may like as well. Put your thoughts in the comment section below, give the video a like, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more content as well.